Wow, I blend in right with the background. Great, we're thriving now. Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Charlie, everyone. If you don't know who Charlie is, played for Dartmouth, played for Baylor, and big upset at Wimbledon this year. Let's start there for doubles.
Yeah, there's a couple good wins.
There was a lot of good wins. Can you start with that experience?
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. Playing with Arthur, we hadn't played that much together. We played play a bit for the same club in London, but yeah, to go out there, the first match we played against Rundinec and Borges, and they were like, I mean, very good singles players, obviously not established on a doubles tour, but you know, we knew they'd be really good, and we came through that one. And then to play Mektic, Kulov, I think both have been number one in the world. Kulov won Wimbledon last year. We were on super late as well, like we might not even finish the match, like potentially. So yeah, to play in that environment, the crowd there, I mean, that was so cool. Thought we played overall a pretty solid match, and then we came out against Molteni Gonzalez, who I think they're 14 and 17 or something in the world, and we were like, okay, well, we've just beaten these guys, like suddenly the task has got even harder. But yeah, I think just playing doubles and at Wimbledon, I mean, singles, doubles, doesn't matter, like you're playing at Wimbledon, like, for me that's as cool as it gets.
Well, that was your first time playing main draw?
Yeah.
What was that for you, at least? And I'm just gonna fix this because
it's right.
Because from like talking about that experience too, is it can't be easy to like, oh, I kind of made it.
Yeah,
type of thing.
For sure.
Because you've had success so far this year with winning your first 25K.
Yeah.
And finished last year with some good results as well.
Yeah.
What was kind of that build up to finding out that you made Wimbledon?
Yeah, it was a bit of a stressful one. I did well at Nottingham like a few weeks before, and that sort of pushed me into like the 280 range, 290 range. So I knew with like a couple of good more weeks, like it would at least put me in the ballpark of being in the conversation. And then the grass season started and didn't play great at Surbiton, and then Nottingham rolled around and I managed to qualify there and make the final. So that was kind of when I knew I would at least be in the conversation. There was still no guarantees. I was told that clearly that, you know, I needed to wait, like basically needed to wait and see.
Here's the deadline. We're not going to tell you up until this time, and you won't know a minute beforehand. Type of thing.
Yeah, and even then they released 7 wildcards early, and they were holding one back for me potentially, but it relied on a few people losing in various events for me to still potentially get it. So
we won't say that you were rooting for we were rooting for your name to be called, but let's just say that.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought someone died.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like, it was really just waiting and seeing, and like doing the best I could. I was preparing to play qualifying, and then I got a call like Friday morning it was, to say that I got one, and then I was like, okay, I'll go down to Eastbourne then and sign in because it's the same week. So had a quick turnaround there, played at Eastbourne, I had a good win, and then it was basically then just getting ready for Wimbledon.
And then for you too, when you go into that mindset of like, this is a Grand Slam, did you think about anything else, or did you keep kind of the same mindset knowing that this is kind of the dream?
It certainly was it's hard not to have those thoughts. And when I saw the draw, so I was playing Stan, who's I know he's not like Novak or someone like that, but he's in that conversation of greatest players in the last 10 years. Like he's been around, done it all, won 3 Grand Slams, like incredible. So I knew I was playing him, but I was looking forward to it. I don't think I was too nervous in the sense of, I know he's not played much on grass this year and it's not his favourite surface. Like, I felt comfortable on the grass and knew I would go in still with nothing to lose, but I felt like I could cause him some problems. And to play the way I did, I was proud of. I think I definitely had a few chances in the second set. I had some set points, which looking back, if you get to one set all, you sort of never know. But overall, the experience was amazing. Yeah, I mean, you try and stay focused and treat it just like any other match, but when you walk out onto court 2, like, I've been on that court
2,
it's a big court. I've been on that court watching. I think a couple of years before, I was watching Tsitsipas and Team on that court.
Really?
I've watched Stan, up close many times at Wimbledon. So, to be in that environment of playing against them, it was pretty surreal.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. People don't understand when you start watching these guys play, and then you start being in the same like draw and seeing your name to them. It's kind of a surreal moment for you when you realize, like, oh crap, I'm Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing what I was watching like years ago.
Yeah, my first experience that I played Goffin last year in France.
Okay.
And I qualified, was playing really well, and I played a really good match, and I was up serving for it 6-5 in the third, and I ended up getting broken and lost 7-6 in the third. But that was my first experience of like, he's someone I've watched make the final of an ATP, you know, ATP finals. Like, I mean, that's, you know, someone who's been at the top of the game for years, and I've just played against him. So, you know, like, obviously you play the Futures Tour, you play, you know, so many good players, but there aren't any of those big names that might get you a little bit starstruck. And I feel like now I'm in a position where I have got used to that. I've played a lot of people that have been in the top 50 or top 100, and I'm playing them now at this level. So yeah, I think it's definitely a little bit of a shift, but the first few times you're a bit like, oh yeah, there is, you know, Goffin walking around the locker room, like that's a bit cool.
Did it take you long to adjust to the Pro Tour?
Out of college? Yeah, a little bit for sure. I think I played a few times at Dartmouth over summers, you know, things like that. Got a few points together, but never really made it further than maybe a second round, quarterfinals, maybe max in 15. So I wanted to give it a go. I mean, I graduated Baylor in 2020. Well, I was done my eligibility in 21, and then started playing professionally in January 2022. And that sort of start of that year was really important for me. I feel like if I hadn't have had a little bit of it, at least shown some promise early, then mentally I know it can get quite tough to still keep playing. And I have a lot of friends that, you know, have been in that grind, and it is really, really hard. So, you know, everyone has the aspiration to go on and play ATPs, Grand Slams, all the rest, but if you can't get through stage one, then it is pretty tough to get through that. So, as I say, like, I was, you know, I had a couple of good semis and finals, and won 15 sort of the back end of 2021. I think I won one, and going into that new year of 22, and I was like, okay, this is my job now. Like, there's a different pressure, but I was looking forward to it and knew that I'd had a bit of success, so just wanted to basically see how well I could do.
And for you two, kind of going into that pro game versus college, there's a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of like tedious things that you wouldn't think about when you go from college to pro. And for you, kind of going into that mindset of, I'm going pro now, what made you make the final decision, or was that always the goal once you went into college? Yeah,
that was, I mean, when I was 18 and went to Dartmouth, that maybe wasn't quite on my agenda. I'd sort of thought about it at 18, so like in the UK you take exams when you're 18, and then you decide if you go to college or whatever, or
start a job.
Start a job. So I was like 18, I'm not ready to play pro tennis, so it's easy decision to go to college. And then my first year I did okay. Second year I got some points, and I was like, okay, like, we'll see. And then COVID hit and went to Baylor. There's like things happened, but I definitely, when I was at Baylor, that was my goal for sure, to play after. You know, the way Mike Woodson was running the program, and with Isaac there as well helping me out. They were really trying to push me towards playing and giving me the best environment to play. And as you say, there are massive differences between playing pro tennis and college tennis. You know, least of which is you're playing 6 matches in a week, 5 matches in a week versus like 1, maybe 2. So the physical demands were certainly you know, a bit different, something to get used to. But I felt like I was prepared when I started playing in January. And and a lot of credit goes to them for how they set up the program and how they made me feel about playing.
Was there a match in college that you thought to yourself, I'm playing at a pro level, or like, this is the best match I've ever played? Was there ever a match that you've played where it's quote unquote your perfect tennis?
Yeah, that's a great question. There was a couple at Baylor. I felt like I played really well indoors. It was national indoors, and I forget who we played, Illinois, and we played UNC in the final. I played, there's a couple matches there where I was like, this was good. Like, I felt good, and tennis was good, won fairly comfortably, and I was like, okay, you know, who knows? And these are good college players. I was like, do
you remember who you played? Because a lot of the guys you played in college are now on tour, which is ironic.
Josh Peck was the one. That was the UNC. That stands out to me, just because he's a huge guy, dangerous indoors especially, and I felt like that was one of the best matches I played in college. But when you say like, oh, is that match a top 300 level match. Like, honestly, I had no idea.
Okay.
I would joke with teammates I had at Dartmouth that, you know, if I got to 500 in the world, I'd like hang my rackets up. I was like, that would be an unbelievable goal, you know, for me to get there. So yeah, to be where I am now, and yeah, I know the level that I have in me, and you know, seeing, you know, being at a tournament like this with the other guys around, like, you know, they're obviously exceptional players, but then
I got to figure out how to not make my camera die in the heat. Camera ended up dying. Had to use the secondary one. There wasn't a mic attached to it, so I apologize for the audio quality, but I hope you guys still enjoy this interview with Charlie. Make sure you are subscribed. Enjoy the rest of the interview.
best match I played in college.
Yes, Josh Peck. You actually mentioned
top 500.
Top 500. You mentioned it that you would kind of just hang up your rackets after you hit the top 500. Do you know what you are right now?
I am 250.
You're 250. So, is this what you ever expected?
No.
Really?
I definitely had a feeling that I could play professionally, but I had no idea where I could get to. I think my mum would say that, you know, she has a lot more belief in me than I do in myself.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I think that's definitely spurred me on to still try and get to that level. I think ultimately it's just I want to do the best that I can do. I'm in a fortunate position where I have degrees to rely on and things to fall back on if tennis doesn't work out.
It's working out pretty well.
It's working out quite well, and you know, like with things that I've done, and as I say, playing Wimbledon recently, like that, being in that environment makes you just want to go back and play more, playing tournaments like this, and you want to come and play these as often as possible. So the motivation, even though I'm, you know, maybe exceeded my expectation a little bit of where I thought I could play to, is certainly not dwindling.
So what motivates you if you were, because you, like you said, you don't really, your mom has higher expectations for you than yourself.
Yeah.
But if I was to ask you what motivates you to keep going, what do you think that is?
I think it's in college you're playing for a team, and I'm very good at playing and wanting to do well for other people. So I want to make my family proud. I want to make, you know, my coach proud. Like all of those things that when you go and play, I want to do well for them, just as well for myself. But really, it just comes down to I have a just innate will to do as well as I can. I do want to get to my end of my career and be like, I gave my best shot, and this is as far as I got. I don't want to be someone that's like, oh, if this hadn't happened, or if buts and maybes, whatever.
The regret part of it.
Absolutely, I don't want to have that. You know, my body is only going to hold up for so many years, and I want to make the most of it. Really. And, to be able to travel the world and play tennis is pretty good. So I want to make the most of it. That's for sure.
What's been, and I'll make this your last question. What's been your best memory on tour as a pro so far? You can't count Wimbledon.
Can't count Wimbledon. Okay,
No, not good.
No, that's fair enough. I'll go Wimbledon qualifying now.
No.
We'll go. It's funny that you've got so many stories and moments and little snippets that have happened throughout the tour. I mean, definitely first titles and little things like that. They definitely add up. That's super cool to play. I think just traveling around with friends. I've been in Airbnbs with 6 people.
Really?
Played cards and I think those are the little things that once you stop tennis, that sort of community, traveling to tournaments and being with people, it's really special. I would say those moments of traveling on a Greyhound bus with a friend after we've just played each other in a final of the tournament, you can't ever explain that to someone who's not in the tennis world, and they'd understand. They wouldn't understand. So I think those moments, but obviously the titles, playing in front of crowds. That sort of experience is also really amazing.
But I like how you put it as there's something bigger than tennis.
Yeah.
And for you, it seems like if you are okay with that, that's how you're going to be more relaxed and you're going to play more fluid for that matter. And I think that's great.
For sure.
Charlie, good luck for the rest of the season. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cheers.